Hey, how's it going, guys? And welcome back to another episode. So we are back in the workshop. The parts have finally arrived. It feels like it's taken forever to get the parts in, but please excuse that noise in the background. Just as I start filming, they start cleaning some parts. But anyhow, so there's a lot of cars around here, some of which are probably not seen by you guys before. Let's give you a quick tour. But the car that we're actually here for is this one here, which is my Bentley Arnage T, 2005. Let's have a look at what parts have come in. The first thing to mention here is the steering rack. Now this has been completely rebuilt and they've done a fantastic job. I mean, if you look at it, absolutely amazing. They've completely stripped it down, changed all of the seals and everything on the inside, and now they've completely rebuilt it, completely resprayed it as well, so it looks brand new. CV boots and everything have been changed. All has been done, so that's been really good, so really pleased with that. And then over here we've got two rebuilt shock absorbers which will open up shortly. We also have the rear suspension accumulators, so two of these, both of these are being changed. We also have the brake accumulator as well, so we'll get that open in a moment. And actually, sorry, this is the brake accumulator, this is a fuel, no, that's the brake accumulator, and then one of these is a fuel filter. This is not heavy. This is a fuel filter, so changing that too. And then these items here, these actually sit above and below the rear shocks, so we're changing these as well. I think it sits above and below the rear springs actually, so yeah, that's all changing too. We've also got some other parts as well, which let me try and find those parts and run you through what else we've got. So one thing I should mention also is that I haven't even driven this car yet. So I've had it for a month and a half. And if you recall from the previous videos, and if you haven't watched it, watch the previous videos. So the car itself was, it had an oil leak. That has now been replaced, and in fact I'll show you what they've done on the oil leak itself, because that itself was a bit bizarre. So the car itself, it needed to have certain things fixed before really we could get this car back on its four wheels and actually drive it. So I haven't actually even driven it yet. The paperwork just got done 2 days ago, so now the car is officially in my name. So I need to now get this car actually on the road and then drive it so that I can see what else needs to be done, if anything else needs to be done at all. So let me show you what they've done on the gearbox. So these guys are straight onto it. I mean, the parts have just arrived and they're straight on it, which is great. So this is the gearbox, and there was a leak coming from where the gearbox itself meets the engine, so the rear main seal was leaking. They did repair the rear main seal, so we replaced that already. But one of the problems, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to catch it on camera over here, but there's a just above here, and I don't think you can see it, and I have no way of shining a light up there. Maybe let's see if I can do it. So just there is a connector, and basically what actually happened was the connector was missing, so the nut was missing, so they had literally sealed it in with some sort of sealant. So these guys actually had a new nut made because we couldn't get a new nut, so they actually had a nut made which is now sealed it in. I'll try and get a better picture with the lighting and everything. Steering rack is already going in place, which is really good. Once we get this done, then we can work on the rear suspension, and and then once that is done, then we can drop the car down, I believe. There might be some additional things to fit, but let's have a look. Wow, it looks like brand new. So this is for the brake This is for the brakes, yeah. So you can see this is where the actual brake accumulator goes, just over there. Having the steering rack out of the way certainly makes things easier. So I think, I'm pretty sure it was leaking anyway, which is the reason why we're changing it, but it just makes sense to get it all done whilst we've got good access to it. Just makes the entire job a lot easier. And obviously we don't want any we don't want to take any risks with the brakes or anything like that. Big heavy car like this, it needs to have brakes on top performance. So yeah, so put the new one in a moment. So you can see it's quite oily underneath. That would have been because of the brake fluid that had been leaking, but also because of the engine oil that's been leaking as well. So, and also coolant as well. So it's, yeah, I think they're going to give it a clean. So I'm so impressed with the work on the damper rebuild. So these are the rear shock absorbers, and they also had to have the solenoids changed as well. But the work itself, it looks fantastic. I mean, it really looks like a brand new damper. You could not distinguish it from new. And you know, the paint of it, everything has been done really beautifully. So really looking forward to getting these in the car today. So I thought also I'll give you a view of the underside of the car. It's a little bit dusty, so ignore the dust. But the main thing is, and I'm comparing it to my previous red label as well. I mean, everything underneath just looks as it should. I mean, it's undamaged, not scratched. You know, these are the buckets for the batteries, this one and this one, and this is the wheel well. You know, absolutely no damage underneath it. Everything underneath looks really, really good. This is obviously where the shock absorbers will go in, and those rubber mounts as well. I mean, there will be things in here that need changing. You know, I think the brakes are okay for the moment. Things like the anti-roll linkages, you know, all of that sort of stuff. But again, as we come to this central section, all of it looks to be in really, really good condition. You know, undamaged, and this side as well. So they're just working on the front, getting the steering rack in place now. So you know, that's going to be in there, you know, in the course of the next sort of 20 minutes or so, all bolted up, the wheels back on. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's all coming together now. Okay, so making good progress now. We've fitted one of the dampers on the rear. For some reason, I actually thought the dampers were going inside the springs, but on this car, it's obviously not. It's to the side. So we fitted the rear damper, or one of the rear dampers, and they're just in the process of actually doing the other damper as well. Inside here is the actual gas shock, which I'll tell you a story about in a second. And they're just doing the damper on this side as well. Now, the story I was going to tell you is basically this is the gas shock that came out of it, and when we had a look at the one that was supplied, thank you, you'll see that it's smaller in size. So we thought that the one that they had sent us was the wrong one. It turns out that there's a stamp on here that it's made in 2008. Now my car's is 2005, so it's been changed at some point, fitted with these. I'm not sure which car this is off, but this is obviously the wrong one. They fitted it with this and put this attachment on it. And the reason why we noticed there was a difference was because this, we took it off and tried to put it on the other one and it wouldn't fit. So now we realise that, so now we realise that actually these ones are actually the wrong ones that have been fitted onto the car, and this is just an attachment because of the sizing of the connectors. So we're fitting the right ones into the car, and we almost actually put them away and we're going to send them back, and it was only when I double checked the part number that we realised that actually it is the right part number and these are the wrong ones. So the right ones go in, these ones come out, and the new rear shock is about to be fitted over there. So I was going to show you the first starting up, but they beat me to it. They got to the key and started it up straight away. So but it's literally been running for about 30 seconds. It's starting to settle quite well. Sounds okay. Oh, I'd say, you know? Yeah, they're saying the sounds okay. Sounds really smooth actually. So that's a bit of a relief because we never got to run it properly. Basically, we've just changed all the engine oil, the gearbox oil, hydraulic oil, and the coolants as well. We haven't changed the brake pads yet because that'll be another job for another day. But it seems to have settled pretty okay. Let's have a look at the inside, see what's going on there. Paul, what do you think?
Making vibration.
Sorry?
We have to check also the injectors.
Oh, the injectors. Okay. Okay.
Misfire.
Sorry?
Misfire.
Misfire? Okay. So we got a little misfire, but that could be a number of things. We'll look at getting that sorted out. But so far so good. Hopefully there's nothing leaking from underneath, and we'll take it up on the ramp and have a look.